Hello and welcome to the Nostalgic Future. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the emulation performance of the Moto Razr 2024. And I've got to say, I'm really surprised with the build quality of the two devices that Motorola came out with this year. It really shows that they're trying to be a premium device manufacturer again, and I love seeing that from them because they haven't made anything but e-waste in the last 10 years, in my opinion, other than maybe the Moto Z line and the Think phone. But other than that, it's just been Go phones and unlocked Amazon garbage bins. So first off, let's take a look at the original Razr. This is the one that started it all. And I just want to compare it real quick with the retro Razr mode on the new models. So we've got the classic aluminum pad. Super thin. Looks like it would be terrible to use, but it's really not that bad. Big chin on the bottom. Classic USB mini. And the unforgettable VGA camera, which can be opened from out here. Whoop. As you can see, I'm shooting this on a BlackBerry Key 1. Because, unfortunately, that's what I had to use before I got this Razr, because my Z Flip broke. Now, let's take a look at retro mode on the Razr 2024. Would you looky there? I mean, the aspect ratio is a little bit weird. But it's just like it, with little Easter eggs.
Hello, Moto.
You can dial out from the collar. But really, most other things are just a shortcut to the standard Android menu. I'd like to start off here with the simple consoles. The 8-bit, the 16-bits. Not to see how well it runs it, because it's going to run it perfectly, however much you want to upscale it. But I want to see how well it scales to this outside screen, and how well the controls are able to scale to the outside screen. Let's take a quick look. Let's go. This is what I've been using for Gameboy recently. I was using Pizza Boy, and it was excellent on all my other phones, but it does not scale to the outside screen of this well at all. The game video does, but it's impossible to try to move the controls because they're rendered off screen, so you can't move them back onto the screen. And that was a bummer because I really liked that one. So we're going to try Game Boy on this one. And in my opinion, this aspect ratio would be better for touch controls. Let's take a look. Make sure the volume is not going to scream. Go there. And I really have to say, it's really satisfying to be able to get that. It's not the correct aspect ratio, but it's very close. And it's just small and tight, just like a Game Boy should be in your hand. I forgot I had an equalizer on there that really affects the output volume on this emulator. And it does take a long time to try to get the controls in the right place because of how small this screen is. It's tedious, but it's really satisfying once you get them in the right spot. I mean, it's very hard to play touchscreen controls through a camera, but it works so well. And another thing I like is that when you go back, you don't have to start here and swipe. You're still able to do it way over there, out of the way of the video. I like that a lot. The simulator also let me set realistic colors, and I like that a lot too. This phone really likes to make colors pop a little more than they're supposed to, even when the display is set on normal. But setting the correct colors in the emulator really fixes that. And I was even able to add a little bit of ghosting as well. And this emulator does that pretty well too. Let me see if I can get it to scroll. Yeah, everything, yeah, gets all fuzzy right when you get that transition. But this is nice, and you can really lock it in too. It's hard to show it on camera, but you can really get it in the hand. Now let's take a look at Nintendo. This is another one I'd prefer to have this way, for the sake of touchscreen controls. Woo. See what I mean about the Dolby Atmos affects some of these emulators and not some of the others. Okay. And again, I've got the aspect ratio stretched all the way out big and tight like that, and in my opinion, it looks fantastic. It's close enough to a true 4x3 that I just love it. And again, it takes a long time to get those controls moved down and adjusted the way that you want. You'll have to go in and change the actual size of the buttons and the opacity and everything like that. But once you do it, it's so satisfying. Let's see. It's just perfect. I mean, I would expect it to be perfect, but it's comfortable. And it's fun because of the size and the aspect. It feels more like a Gameboy type device, like a portable emulator. You don't feel like you're trying to play it on a phone per se once you get used to it. Let's take one more quick look at Super Nintendo. Oops. This one has a pretty hard intro. Let's try this one. And rotate. Oh, I was already playing this. Forgot all about that. Now this is hard to accomplish through the camera and on touchscreen, but it's so good. It's so satisfying to have this little guy in your pocket you can just pull out and have a nostalgic experience with these old consoles like this. And it scales right, it looks right, it will listen to whatever aspect ratio you set and nothing gets buggy, and really any of these emulators that I've shown so far. So satisfying. Now, let's get into the harder stuff. The stuff I was most interested in whenever I got this device. Because there's emulators on Amazon that are a dime a dozen that can emulate all of those 16-bit consoles up to PS1 a lot better than this will. A lot more comfortable with an actual set of controls. But it's really hard and expensive to find a portable emulator that will actually handle Gamecube and PS2. So let's take a look at that. Section. I'd like to cover some of the harder consoles to emulate. Everyone knows you can buy a portable emulator on Amazon for a few bucks, and it's going to give you a little bit better of an experience when playing those older consoles just because of the buttons. They're just more comfortable. But you have to spend quite a bit of money to get you a handheld that will actually play PlayStation 2 or GameCube without needing to modify it in some way or anything like that. So I'd like to start off with PlayStation 2, and I'm going to be using a Bluetooth controller for these because trying to use touchscreen controls on PS2 and GameCube is a little bit insane. But you can get you a Bluetooth controller like this from 8BitDo or your favorite manufacturer that has the phone clip. Keep the Razr closed, put it in the phone clip like that. Now, what you're going to end up with is a nice 4x3 big aspect ratio without giant black bars hanging off the sides from the phone. And it feels more balanced in the controller because the weight is all in the center. Now, let's take a look at PlayStation 2. And as you can see, it fills up nearly all the way to that top leather and all the way to the bottom and completely all the way to the sides. And it just feels and looks so much better than the gigantic rectangle hanging off the sides. Now let's take a look and cause some ruckus real quick. Let's make sure I don't get any music that's gonna get me shut down. Alright. Yeah, let's cause some accidents real quick and see if we can get some stuttering. So far, it just runs beautifully. When I played through the intro of the game, the beginning part, it's just about perfect the entire time. I'm gonna go head on with somebody. Nope, no problem. And PlayStation 2 really does just run smoothly. It's very surprising. Whoopsie! Just a perfect experience when at least when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 3. It's the only one that I've really spent a longer than 10 minutes playing. And I just get lost playing it. I forget that I'm trying to see if it's running well just because of how well it is running, and then I just end up playing the game for 10 or 15 minutes. And that's really the best reaction you can ask for when you boot up an emulator, is to forget that it's an emulator and just start playing the game. Very surprised with Gamecube. Out of all of these games that I have, right here in this list, the only one that stutters bad that I've noticed so far is F-Zero GX. I've yet to try Star Fox Adventures, but that takes a while to get loaded up, so I'll touch back on that one in another video. That's a GameCube game that will destroy the Dolphin emulator, normally. On Androids, of course. My Z Flip, no matter what I did, would never run this without cutting the audio and losing frames. I mean, we cut a little bit when it first started, but it stopped. Let's see. Let's just do a quick practice run and see what's up. We're cutting a little bit going through the menus. Not too bad, though. Cut a little bit when the stage loaded, but smooth out immediately. Let's see. Now, I'm only by myself here, so... Ooh. Well, there you go. Okay, it's just fine by yourself. Let's get other racers on the track and see if that crushes our performance. Menu really freaks out right there. But it's doing a lot better than the Z Flip. I know I keep comparing it to an old Z Flip 3 and this is a lot newer phone, but that's because of the chipset. Let's see. Now it's going to load in all the vehicles. Not good. Wow. Not doing good. Oh, we're straightening out. Wonder if it was because it had never rendered these vehicles before. We're not perfect, but we're playable. I want to hit the boost button, but I have it mapped like a Super Nintendo and I can't reach the button. Yep, it just cuts just a little, but it's definitely playable. If you shut the audio off, I don't think you'd have a problem with that. And it definitely seems fixable with settings in the emulator based on that performance out of the box. And another important thing about emulation on this device, other than the performance and the screen quality itself, are the endless options in playstyle. You can play it with the touchscreen controls on the front, you can play it with a Bluetooth controller connected and the phone snapped in, or you can tent mode it like this and use a Bluetooth controller anywhere you want. And just start doing the exact same thing. And it's a quality experience no matter where you set it, because that screen size is just the sweet spot where it can be a little bit away from you and it doesn't make your eyes hurt. It's just big enough. But let alone tent mode, I mean, we can hit it like this as well. Just open it up, sit it down. Now we've got that 4x3 on the top screen, and we're rolling. And it even seems like it would let me switch between these aspects during game. I'm going to try that real quick. Ooh, it restarts the ROM, but it does switch. So you could save your game and then open it. So you can do that, you'd have to save your game first and then switch positions, because the ROM would reboot. Very cool. Not to mention when you're in this mode, I've covered this in previous videos with my Z Flip. That's great for Gameboy as well, but a lot of people have already been covering that in the years since I made that video. Thank you very much for taking a look with me at the emulation quality on the Motorola Razr 2024. If you'd like to see how I set up any of these emulators or the touch controls, comment below and I'd be more than happy to show you. What are your thoughts? Do you have one of these Razrs? Do you already emulate consoles on the outside screen like this? And what games have you been playing? Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.